Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, ready to get started with some bowl predictions. And our first game has a chance to be one of the best bowl games of the entire 2020 postseason. We've got Central Florida taking on number 17, BYU, in the BOCA RATON Bowl. We as college football fans are extremely lucky to have this matchup. We're extremely lucky to have this matchup so early on in the postseason. Because really, I was surprised to see BYU in the BOCA RATON Bowl. I thought they might hold out for a better bowl destination because I genuinely believe they deserve that. The Cougars, top 20 team, 10-1 on the year. Their only loss, losing by 1 yard to Coastal Carolina on about 2 days of prep. I thought the BYU Cougars deserved a better spot than that. But regardless, this is going to be a fantastic battle, one that has a chance to come down to the wire between two fantastic quarterbacks in Dillon Gabriel and Zach Wilson. So a little bit of background going into this game first. The FPI, the Football Power Index, is favoring UCF, giving the Knights a 57.1% chance to pull off this minor upset over a very good BYU team. Another thing is, BYU, they enter this game at 10-1. Central Florida, a bit of a disappointing year for them, entering at 6-3. So back-to-back years now that the Knights have not made a New Year's Six bowl game. And I guess over the Knights fans, I know they're pretty unhappy about that. They want to contend for American Athletic titles. They want to contend for a New Year's Six bowl game. 6-3 in a year like this, not that bad. But compared to the standards and the expectations of Central Florida football recently, this is a bit of a letdown. But the Knights, 6-3, playing in their first game in nearly a month. They did close the year out, though, by winning 4 of their last 5 games. So, guys, here we go. BOCA RATON Bowl. We're going to break down the offense, the defense, keys to the game, and there are some big ones. And then, of course, who we have winning this game at the end of this video. So let's start on the offensive side of the ball. We mentioned how great of a quarterback matchup we have here between Dillon Gabriel and Zach Wilson. And let's start with Central Florida. They're averaging 585.6 yards per game. Almost 600 offensive yards per game. They're averaging 373 passing yards per game, 212.6 rushing yards per game. They're fast, they're electric, they rely on the home run ball, and in a way, they are balanced. Dillon Gabriel, a major reason for that, has thrown for over 3,300 yards, 30 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. Takes great care of the football, has a beautiful deep ball, and he loves to go deep to his top wide receiver in MARLON Williams, who has over 1,000 yards and 10 reception touchdowns on the year. On top of that, on top of UCF's pass-heavy attack, because we know that's what they want to go to first, they have 2 600-yard rushers in Greg McCray and Otis Anderson, the two combining for over 1,200 rushing yards this year and 13 touchdowns. So again, you want to slow down the pass, you've got 2 great running backs. You take away the running backs, that's fine. Central Florida might prefer that because they're just going to keep airing it out, and it's so difficult to stop. There's a good chance, honestly, this is the most difficult offense that this BYU defense will face all season long, or has faced all season long. They lost to Coastal Carolina, that's a dang good offense. But outside of that, I can't think of one other one that has been this good compared to the other offense that BYU has had to face. You look at the numbers here again, guys, before we dive into BYU, they both are putting up ridiculous numbers. They're both putting up ridiculous points. Central Florida, 44.3 points per game. BYU, 43 points per game. The defense is going to be a major key. We'll touch on it in a second, but this is going to be one of those games where we might expect a shootout, but it might be a little bit lower scoring than we think. BYU, on the other hand, they're averaging 510.1 yards per game. So both teams averaging over 500 yards per game. The offense is so difficult to stop. Zach Wilson, a major reason for BYU's offensive success. Over 3,200 passing yards this year, 30 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he also has 8 rushing touchdowns on the year too. So both Gabriel and Wilson do a great job of taking care of the football. You shouldn't see many interceptions or many turnovers from these two quarterbacks in this BOCA RATON Bowl. But similar to Central Florida, who's stacked from top to bottom, you got Gabriel, McCray, Anderson, Williams. BYU has their own set of triplets in a way. You've got Zach Wilson, the leader of the team, but you got Tyler Algier, who has 957 yards and 12 touchdowns on the year, at running back, I should add. And then you've got Dax Milne, who's also a 1,000-yard receiver. Over 1,100 reception yards and 8 touchdowns for Milne in this offense. So I don't know many bowl games, guys, even at New Year's Six caliber, where you can look at two of the better quarterbacks in the country going at it, two teams averaging over 500 yards, two 1,000-yard receivers, two teams that are averaging well over 40 points per game. I don't know many bowl games that can provide those type of numbers. I really don't. That's why this Boca Raton Bowl is such a big deal, and it's going to be so much fun to watch. The offense, such a big deal. That's why this game's so exciting. But in a game that's going to be dominated by offense, it's going to be someone's defense that has to step up and make a play and try to get their team the win. Defense, BYU owns a clear-cut edge. There's no doubt about it. Central Florida is allowing 164 more yards per game than BYU. And say what you want. Say it's because BYU's strength of schedule isn't there. They haven't played as great quality opponents as Central Florida. But I'm not really buying that. I'm really, really not buying that. This BYU team has shown me, even in the loss to Coastal, has shown me they're legit and they're a very, very good team. Look at BYU's defense real quick. They're allowing 14.6 points per game, just 309.5 total yards per game. Again, like we always say here, if you're allowing 300 yards per game or less, or even just slightly above that, you're really good. Your defense is good, and BYU fits that category. BYU is also only allowing 113.8 rushing yards per game, just 195.7 passing yards per game. So, both those numbers, if you listened to us earlier, are well under the season averages for Central Florida. I mean, it's about 100 less rushing yards per game than Central Florida is averaging. It's nearly 200 less passing yards per game than Central Florida is averaging. So what is going to give here? Are the Cougars going to get exploited against what is arguably the best offense they've seen all year? Or is Central Florida and their offense, are they going to get shut down against possibly one of the better defenses they have seen all year? Central Florida, their defense, 473.7 yards per game they're allowing. They're allowing 31.4 points per game. The Knights, they have flashes of brilliance every now and then, but they're not planning on beating you with the defense. They're planning on beating you by simply outscoring you and playing better offense than you. They know that if we continuously put points on the board, our defense is bound to get a stop every now and then. Force a punt, they force a turnover, a break goes our way, and when that happens, we're going to put more points up on the board, and that's how we win. You win through your offense. That's not going to have to happen here against BYU. That might not even have a chance to happen here against BYU. The Knights have got to play defense. They're allowing 190.2 rushing yards per game. BYU, they're averaging 187.9 rushing yards per game. Tyler Algier could be in for a big day on the ground. One thing that UCF does have going for them, though, is they have forced 22 turnovers, with 13 of those 22 being fumbles. They own that turnover edge over BYU in terms of forcing them. 22 forced turnovers for the Knights, only 15 forced turnovers for the Cougars, and I would say 15 turnovers through 11 games really isn't all that much. So UCF better at forcing turnovers, but BYU, as we've seen all year long, they do a great job of holding on to that ball. So let's take a look at the keys to the game, guys. The keys to this Boca Raton Bowl. Again, will UCF and their offense continue their success against this BYU defense? Can the BYU defense contain the offense, and vice versa? The key, first off, and we've mentioned it a lot in games that involve BYU, it's who's going to win that battle in the trenches. Who's going to win that battle up front? We talked about BYU. I mean, from that first game they played against Navy, it was clear they planned on bullying every single opponent in the trenches, bullying every single team up front on the offensive and the defensive lines. Both guys and both teams do a great job of opening lanes for their running backs, so their blocking schemes work extremely well. That's why UCF has two 600-plus yard rushers. That's why Tyler Algier should crack 1,000 yards on the year in this game against the Knights. But Central Florida, in terms of pass protection, is lacking compared to BYU. The Knights have allowed Dillon Gabriel to be sacked 22 times this year. BYU has allowed half of that, allowing their quarterbacks to be sacked 11 times this year. The Cougars also have posted 26 sacks in 2020. That is a big number. To me, that makes up a little bit for the lack of turnovers that they have created. The pass rush is there for BYU. The offensive line there is there for Central Florida, but they've allowed 22 sacks this year against mostly mediocre American Athletic Conference opponents. This is the best defensive line they're going to face, the best front seven they will have faced all year long. Another key in this one is discipline. In a game like this, especially one that could be dominated offensively, you can't have big offensive plays being taken away due to penalties. And if you have watched Central Florida football, and for my Central Florida fans out there, you know firsthand, penalties have been an issue. Central Florida has committed 85 penalties this year. That combines for 694 penalty yards, averaging 77 penalty yards per game. They're one of the most penalized teams in the country. And look, some of that's coaching, some of that's bad calls from the officials, but most of it's coaching. Most of it is coaching. And I'm not blaming Josh Heupel, but false starts, offsides, pass interferences, stuff like that, that can be fixed. And they haven't done a great job of doing that so far. BYU, compare that to them, the Cougars have committed just 47 penalties for 387 yards, averaging just 35 penalty yards per game. So Central Florida is averaging more than double the amount of penalty yards per game than BYU is so far this season. And in a game, again, where it could be dominated by offense, a game where Central Florida might struggle a little bit against this BYU defense, they can't afford to have big play after big play being called back for a stupid holding call. Or they can't allow it when they need a desperate stop. They can't allow themselves to get a pass interference call and extend BYU's drives. They've got to do better in terms of preventing the penalties. And if they want to win this game, they might need the flags to go their way. And hopefully BYU getting a little bit more penalized this year than they have so far. So up front, the line of scrimmage, who dominates it? BYU's done a great job of it so far this year. They've won it in most of their games so far this year, with the exception of Coastal Carolina. That's a key. And discipline. BYU owns that edge, but maybe a little bit of jittery, maybe a little bit too aggressive. BYU out there trying to prove a point. Maybe they get flagged more than the Knights. So what's going to happen in this game? The BOCA Raton Bowl again. UCF, number 17 BYU, great offenses, great quarterbacks. Like we mentioned, this is one of the first bowl games of the postseason, and it already has a chance to be one of the best bowl games of the postseason. Two questions I have in this game. First, again, will BYU be motivated? Will BYU be motivated? Up until a few weeks ago, they were in the conversation for possibly making a New Year's Six bowl game. They were disrespected by the committee with their ranking. The loss to Coastal Carolina got rid of any hope of a playoff berth, got rid of any hope for a New Year's Six bowl berth. So now they're in the Boca Raton Bowl. Are they going to be motivated for this one? Central Florida, are they going to be too rusty? Remember, they haven't played a game in nearly a month, and they're not getting the benefit of going up against some mediocre team. They're playing a top 20 team, one that, in my opinion, is better than what their ranking really is right now. The answer, in my opinion, to both those questions that we mentioned is yes. Yes, BYU will be motivated. Yes, Central Florida will be a little bit rusty. I don't believe that that means Central Florida is going to get annihilated in this game. But I do believe that BYU wins this game. I do believe that UCF will lose this game. We've got a potential shootout in this one. And like we always say, in games that might be a shootout, in games that could be dominated by offense, I like to side with the team that has the better defense. And like we mentioned, BYU owns the significant edge on the defensive side of the ball. I know this might be the most difficult offense they have faced all season long. But I think Kalani Sitake and his team is up for the challenge. They are out to prove a point. And I believe that they do, in fact, win the Boca Raton Bowl. BYU will finish the season at 11-1, one of the better seasons in program history, and they will win a thriller down at Boca Raton over a good Central Florida team. So, guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Bowl season is here. We're going to have you covered with every game, every step of the way. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and also make sure to check out everything down in that description below. We have new Gridiron Expert merchandise. You do not want to miss out on that. You do not want to miss out on our spread picks for every single bowl game over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Our Patreon account, our BetNow offers, our newsletter, everything can be found right down there in the description for you guys, the die-hard college football fans. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.